Oh, I didn't see you there. Hello, my name is Trevor Lacey, and this is my demo video on creative writing. As you found me, I was creating my own story, one this time about goblins and other nefarious creatures of the night. However, this isn't about that. This is about you. This is about to those who want to learn how to creative write, those who maybe are interested and have a passion but don't really know where to start. Don't worry, I can help you. So, where do we begin on this? Well, there's a couple things you need to know. We're going to be going over how to write characters, mainly have a distinctive main character, and how to define them, creating a setting to build your world around, how deep you want to go, and generally how to write a plot, how to really focus out and determine which paths you want to go to and how the plot may develop. So please, sit down, take out a sheet of paper if you would like, have a cup of water, because hydration is everything, and let's get down to the magic. Let's first ask ourselves, what is creative writing? Now, according to masterclass.com, they characterize creative writing as is a form of writing that encompasses a number of different genres and styles outside the more formal scope of technical writing or academic writing. Creative writing focuses on elements such as character development, narrative, and plot, infusing a structure with imagination and story. Now the question does come up, Trevor, where would you even go to do your creative writing? And to that I say, I usually like to either sit down at my desk like this one here, or sit down in a very comfy place where I am comfortable and warm. I either do this as I said, on my desk, in the library where I can find some worn seating, or on my bed, or in a very nice comfy chair. But there is other places you can go, and I have some great advice from thewritelife.com. According to The Right Life, some great places might be your local library, a coffee shop, public park, on your own front porch or back porch, whichever one you have, a museum or aquarium or a shopping mall. Now, personally, it is whatever you are comfortable with, whatever the most inspiring to you. If you would like to go ahead, climb up a mountain and watch as the sun goes down and really have that experience with nature come to mind. You can be anywhere, just so long as you are inspired, you are motivated, and best of all, you know what you're doing and are safe. So people ask me, so what are the health benefits of creative writing? And for me personally, it helps me really process my emotions and different events I might be going through, but also helps me relieve some stress. Helps me escape from, this world and lets me go into one of my own fantasy, one of my own making. That can be either as great or as horrible as I can imagine. So according to publishingtalk.org, it highlighted several studies of those who write about their personal trauma and who had better outcomes, and it showed that they had better outcomes, at least in the long term. And with the immediate effects often including a short-term increase in distress and negative mood. With the longer term effects including improved immune system, lower blood pressure, improved mood, and a feeling of psychological well-being, fewer symptoms of depression, and fewer post-traumatic intrusion and avoidance symptoms. Also, according to OxfordSummaryCourses.com, because it'll be creating writing will be boosting your imagination as you create new worlds, simulations, and characters in your work. When you're simulating your brain to think outside the box, you'll be better suited to be discovering alternative solutions to problems and look at issues from different angles. Now, let's first start focusing on main characters. Different characters, side characters, and how to develop them. So, let's start off with the main character. And I will go along and create an example for you as we're going this along for each of these examples and create a little story of our own. So, for main characters, you really want to be starting off, you want to make a strong main character. You want to either have them connect, depending on how you want to do this, You either want to have them connect with the audience, either emotionally or through experience or whatnot. This is your main character. This guy has to be relevant. He has to be memorable, and he must drive the story along. This can be done in a couple ways. First of all, what are his goals? What does he want to accomplish? These should be things that are relatively well thought out, as his goals would drive the plot. Why does he want to do something? And what motivates him. We'll get more into this in the plot phase. However, for now, let's come up with a character. Now, this character can be a self-insert, though we would be looking for something that's a little bit more creative, shall we say. So, first of all, likable. This guy shouldn't be a jerk. Unless you want him to be a jerk, but he has to be likable in some ways. He has to have some redeeming quality in order to want characters to want to root for him. If not, then if they're rooting for the bad guy, then they're not going to have a really fun time reading your work. Now, your main character has to have a defined personality. If you do not have a defined personality for your character, then it's easy to get sloshed around in places on why are they even doing this when they wouldn't have done that. For example, let's say this one guy, Charlie, we'll call him, does not like tacos. If so, then why is he at a taco store? Either have a definition of why he's at that, but it shouldn't be to eat tacos because it is previously shown that Charlie hates tacos. So let's create an example character for this. For our main character, it's going to be simple, just to go along with it. His name is going to be Troy. Troy is a pretty energetic guy. He definitely likes to work out, we'll say, and he doesn't like bacon, oddly enough, and his goals, he wants to one day own a marvelous cow. So our story and our character cannot exist in a vacuum. There has to be a setting for our character to explore and live in that affects the plot in some way, or to provide a background to a story. Now, how involved the setting is into your story depends on you. You can either have a very loose world and have it really kind of meld in with the background, or you can have a very detailed world that interacts with the story at every point in turn. Perhaps even some plot points are because of world events, or world events influence the plot. Like I said, it's creative writing is all up to you. So let's create a setting to go alongside our character here. So for our setting, we will place it somewhere on Mars. Specifically in the year 2348, Earth has developed into a mighty galactical empire after unifying for one world. How we choose to go through this and how it develops the plot, if it interacts with the plot at all, we'll go into our next segment. So this brings us into our plot segment. Now the plot is our most important thing that we have to develop. It is literally the bread and butter of our story. It is more important than our main character. You can have a dislikable main character, but if it doesn't have a good story, then you do not have a good work. So, how should we do this? The most common tool and most common plot thread method that is used to really develop plots in movies and books and other media is what's called as a hero's journey plot cycle. It is the most common one, as I said, and it starts off with the call to adventure. Why is the hero doing what they're doing? Is it to, do they get roped into something? Do they leave home to go accomplish their goal? This is why the story starts off and how it starts. The second one is supernatural aid. So in the supernatural aid plot point, the hero is given some sort of power or just mentorship and influence by usually a threshold guardian, which teaches them how to use that power and really takes them into their world, or what is known to them, or takes them into the unknown. This unknown could be another reality, or just a different part of the world that they knew. Everything is different. They have no experience with this before. After they cross the threshold, this starts the next leg of their journey, the challenges arc, as I like to call it. This is where their mentor and helper and other supporting characters lend a hand to help them further their goals, to help them along their path. This can be either their mentor training them and giving them advice on what they're supposed to do, or this could be him overcoming several challenges. However, at the end of this, there is temptations. Now, whether he gives into this temptations leads us into our next point. So they could fall into this temptation. This temptation, or this could be something that tempts them into more power, or a more powerful position, or giving them what they want at the cost of a more moral value, or a cost of some sort. They could not seek this temptation, but they also could. Now, while they take it or not, this usually, how this happens is usually up to you. But this takes us to our next point. The Abyss, Death, and Rebirth stage, also called the Relevation arc. Now, the Relevation arc is more of a, when you see the hero at their weakest. Something happens in the plot where they are thrown down into the depths of despair. Now, this could be a major crushing blow in a battle if you're doing something more action-y. This could be a breakup if it's a romance novel, or it could be something else entirely. Now, in this, they are at the deepest and darkest depths. But through this, they have a relevation, some increase either in power or knowledge, or they have something happen to them that boosts their confidence and rises them like a phoenix back to the top where they should be. And this brings us to our transformation arc. The transformation arc is how the hero uses what their newfound power or what they just got from the Rebirth stage and Relevation arc, and uses that to further their goals. Which leads us directly into the Atonement arc. Now, the Atonement arc is the climax of our story. It is our hero righting their wrongs, completing what they set out to do, and getting over whatever final challenge that put him behind in the Relevation arc in the Abyss part. And after they seek this atonement, they cross back, and from the unknown part of the threshold into the known threshold. They beat the bad guy, they get whatever they are searching for, and they return back to their normal life, into where they are, so that in the next part, if there is a sequel, they can go back and are ready for the next call of adventure. What's our example of this? We will say that Troy, on Mars, he wants to get a cow. He hears that on Earth, there is a cow, and he's never been to Earth before. So he gets the advice from a wise old man who knows travel and knows Earth. This mentor will help him on his journey and helps him jump into a starship and start flying, or promises to help him on his way and cross into the threshold. By now, the threshold is crossed. He is trying to find a way on the spaceship. In this, he meets a couple of characters. He meets a character that lets him, that owns a starship, and will help him fly across. He finds this other person who will also help him. As he's going through his challenges, there might be a challenge like a asteroid belt, and they have to get through an asteroid belt, or they have to get through a credit check, and they don't pass the credit check. This leads them into a temptation to get more money by less moral means. We'll say it's by robbing a bank. A bit of an extreme case, however, this is what we're going with. It is a creative writing after all. And after this, it is actually a trap for him laid by the antagonist, Joe, who actually who's a rival farmer that wants that prize cow on Earth. Struck down by using less than moral means, he plunges to the abyss in absolute despair. Troy is not himself. He's very depressed. And from this, his mentor is like, well, we'll give back the money. And with that, because he gave back the money, it actually erased all of the interest of the town. And he is able to buy a beggar ship where he can blast off and go faster than Joe's ship. In this, he goes into transformation states. He knows, I can do this. I still have a chance. I still did the right thing. I might have not done it right the first time, but I'm doing it now. And he's transforming. He's literally faster than Joe. And he gets to Joe before him. They have an epic space off. They fire guns. Joe's ship gets damaged, and he has to swerve off into the unknown distance of space. And in this, we reach the Atonement arc. Troy gets to Earth, and he is able to purchase a cow. And in this, he is able to buy the cow. He is happy, and he makes his return journey back to Mars, where he lives back on his farm and awaits the next call to adventure with his new cow, Bermuda. And with that ends our 3-step process on how to use creative writing. We have created character Troy with a fantastic goal of trying to find a cow, even though he lives on Mars, which is the second point, the setting. We have gone over what makes a good setting, how integrated it can be, or and how it influences the story. And in the plot, we discovered the hero's journey, and we created a plot using Troy that helps him go through all points of the hero's journey to reach his end destination. Thank you so much for listening to my demo video. Now you can write your own stories. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful rest of your day.